All right, well, welcome everybody. This is Barney Kuntze. In case you don't recognize my famous haircut, it is very expensive in shaving cream, but cheap on shampoo. And I am the creator and founder of the Wild Success Summit. And I'm very excited to be here tonight because we have another fellow bald-headed man that's going to be sharing some wisdom, and his name is Tom, aka Big Al Schreiter. So I'm going to be bringing him in here because I'm really excited to share with you guys tonight. I'm going to bring him in just a minute here so I can, whether I can kind of see Tom, he might be making some funny faces at me right now, but I can't actually tell. But we're going to be going over just talking, really taking questions from you guys. If you don't know anything about Big Al and his work, I'm going to be posting and his books. He's got a lot of great training. I'm actually going to put a link where he's got a bunch of free stuff on his website. There's some really good audios. And what I'd love for you to do first and foremost is just to make sure that I know that this is all working, because I can see there's about 17, 18 of you on live right now, but I can't see any comments. And sometimes this happens. So what I'd like for you to do is just leave a comment in there and let us know where you're tuning in live from. So maybe you're in Thailand like Big Al, or maybe you're in Australia, maybe you're in Germany. Well, maybe not because it's 2 in the morning, but you never know. Maybe you're on the East Coast. And either way, just let us know so we can have some great engagement with you. And we're going to get into some really fun stuff tonight. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest here and work my magic. And voila, you're here, Big Al.
Hello, Barney.
So how is life on the road?
The same as when it's at home. We're surrounded by pre-sold prospects who want a better life. They want to live longer. They find dying quickly inconvenient. They think younger looking skin is better than having wrinkles so deep you can store food in it. They want to have energy all afternoon instead of feeling bad all afternoon. Just totally surrounded by pre-sold prospects. Yeah, life on the road is just like at home.
Well, I should come and hang out with you more often then if you got all these pre-sold prospects.
And every one of them want more money in life instead of less money. So, yeah, that's pretty tough.
And just in case you guys can't pick up on this, this is called mild sarcasm, and Big Al uses this sometimes in his presentation skills. So I'm gonna put you on the screen for a second just so it's you, because I'm gonna actually refresh. It's gonna kick me out.
All right.
And because I want to make sure, and I'll be right back. But and then the live feed's going to stay connected, guys. So don't worry. It's just that I'm not seeing any of the comments in it, and if you guys are asking questions and I can't see them, this is going to make it really fun. So what I'd like you to do, well, I'm going to take 15 to 20 seconds to do that. Is can you just tell us a little bit about your story in case anybody has no idea who you are, and then if you can just let us know a little bit more about your story.
Okay, so while you refresh, like everybody else, I had a job and I wanted to travel more, but in the US, you only get 2 weeks holiday, and by the time you visit your parents, your life is over. So I looked and found a part-time business. It turned out to be network marketing. Totally sold on it because engineers understand residual income, they understand leverage. We just can't do it, but we understand the math instantly. So I got started. And for the next 1 year and 10 months, did terrible at it. And then they taught me some magic words to say. And 60 days later, I finished my job, never looked back. So it's been a pretty good 47-year career, having the time of my life traveling the world. So, Barney?
I'm back, yeah. I still can't see the comments, so sorry, guys, if you guys are leaving some great questions. It'll refresh here in probably just a couple minutes. So you've been doing this longer than I have been alive. What have you noticed as being some of the changes in network marketing compared to that have kind of stayed the same? Because you've seen a lot in your travels and just being in business for that long.
Well,
yeah, that makes sense.
When we started back a long time ago, you had to be an anti-government communist hippie to be a distributor. Being an entrepreneur was kind of weird. Nowadays, it's almost expected or it's normal. So there's no need to go to the long presentation part of having a job versus having one's own business. People are pre-sold on the idea now. It's a different market. It's a lot easier. This is the best time ever to be in network marketing because people say, I want more, but I don't want a lot of responsibility and overhead because I want to enjoy my life. Network marketing fits in better now than at any time in history. So it's a good time to be in network marketing.
Yeah. So pardon me for the distraction here. I can't see your comments, guys, just so you guys know. So if you're leaving really great questions, I'm hoping that we're going to say a little prayer and do a happy dance, that they'll just show up. I know then Big Al put a comment in here and saying no comment, and this is another comment. So
you can see my comment. That's it.
I did. Okay, so basically, that just to summarize, that some things have changed, some things have stayed the same. The one thing is that we're in a day and age where people are more open and ready and willing because there's a need for it, right?
Right. The second thing that changed is people make up their minds right away now. Our lives are so busy, and we're more in sync with how the human brain works. The human brain basically makes decisions first and then seeks out information to explain it later, which means when you and I see the business, we make an instant decision. Hey, do I want to do it or not? And if the answer is no, we're done. We move our minds on elsewhere. If the answer is yes, I want to do it, then we'll listen to a presentation. But the days of giving presentations first and then asking for a decision at the end of the presentation, they ended about 15, 20 years ago, and they're not coming back. People sort out instantly through some pretty sophisticated mechanism if they want to do it or not. So that's the second big change.
Okay. So so this happens like in a short period of time, and you're saying it happens first, so they've kind of made a decision in the first few minutes. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, people make decisions based on zero information, and they make them right away. And people get upset about that. They say, no, I'm in control of my decisions. I want to think things over. Well, it's just not realistic. So I give them a couple examples. I say things like, listen to these two words, Donald Trump. And they go, all right. And they say, yeah, I've already made a decision before you finish the sentence. And I said, well, that's how the human brain works. Decisions first. And then it wants information only on the yes decisions, only on the big decisions in its life. And Sue says, is that way all the time? I said, sure. Go to somebody's home. And when you get there, the person's leaning back, folding their arms, frowning. I asked, have they made a decision? Well, yeah, they made a decision. And what was their decision? Their decision was no. Based on how much information? Oh, zero. And I said, well, did you ever invite somebody to an opportunity meeting and they did not show up? Oh, yeah, all the time. Well, have they made a decision? Yeah. What was their decision? No. Based on how much information? None. I said, how many examples do you need? I said, well, what if you get a telephone call from a salesperson? Look at the phone. How long does it take you to make your final decision to that salesperson? Oh, less than 1 second. I don't even listen to them. Yeah. Based on how much information? None. So if you and I make our final decisions as salespeople before the information ever happens, if that's what we do to salespeople, do you think other people would do that to us? They go, yeah, I guess so. So when you and I are out there meeting people, it's already over in the first 5 or 10 seconds. We just need to get over it. We have to do all of our magic, all of our work in the first 5 or 10 seconds. And showing them slide 63 or 64 of a PowerPoint presentation 20 minutes later, or rubbing the oil on the back of their hand, 20 minutes into the presentation, we're kind of out of sync with how the human mind makes a decision. It makes decisions first, and then information later. And well, the classic example would be ask somebody, remember when you got married or entered a relationship? Yeah. Did you make that decision before you got all the information? They go, oh, yeah, of course, yeah. and and people get it at some point that our business is reading the first 15 seconds or so. And after that, the decision's already made, and it's just a matter of information. It just takes a while for us to get our head around that because all our life we've been pounded in our head that people need information and facts and testimonials and demonstrations to make decisions, and it's totally not true. The brain science is overwhelming this is how people make decisions.
Yeah, so it's interesting because I'll tell you right now, I have, so I'm thinking in two trains of thought. Let me switch this here for a second. Which, by the way, guys, I can see the comments now, or at least most of them. And yeah, so hopefully if your questions are coming through, I'll see them. But so the two sides. So the one is Barney, the consumer, and Barney, the business owner, the entrepreneur, and thinking there's times where I've made my decision, but then I kind of waver on it, where I've made my decision. I'm going to buy this. I'm going to renew this program. I'm going to, just purchase this product, purchase this service. And it does happen pretty quick. But on the other hand, I think when I'm delivering the information, I think I'll tell you right now, I'm kind of like scratching my head thinking, okay, well, if the decision is made that quickly, how do we know for sure what the decision is that they've made? If that makes sense.
Well, if they get up and leave the meeting, that would be a hint. So, yeah. All right. So the question is, how do people make up their minds? How do they prejudge us? And I said, well, people prejudge us, and they prejudge us pretty harshly. Let's do an example here. How fast they prejudge us. A stranger walks in the room. We take a look at that stranger, and just like that, we make up our mind, is that a good person, is that a bad person? Can I trust them or not? Do they look friendly? Do you think I like this person? Not even a word has been said. And we prejudge just the looks on their face. I mean, that is so grossly unfair, but so grossly realistic. We might as well address it. And
right.
So how is it that people look at somebody and make a judgment? I said, all right, let's do an example. You look at somebody and they look like your ex. Chances are you've already made a decision no to almost anything they said. And you look at somebody and they look like the person just ran over your cat. Yeah, it's over. And you look at somebody and your facial recognition software in the back of your mind says, wait a minute. I kind of like these people. And you say, well, what's going on here? So one of the ways the subconscious mind collects a decision is through body language. You say, well, how much body language can happen if I just looked at their face? I said, well, your mind has some facial recognition software that's stored millions of images of people's faces. And when you look at somebody, you say, well, which face do they look like? Which group of people over here is it not? So I know how to react to them. How do I feel? And this is all automatic instantly. And the back of our mind goes and through all these millions and millions of faces, and we make up our mind what that person is, what their intention, what they're doing there, if they're going to like us or not. All this has just happened in a split second. In a split second. People say, well, okay, how does that happen? Well, here's an example of how that happens so we can control it. Let's say you have some pets. One morning you come in and you say to the pets, hey, hop in the car, let's go for a fun ride. And boom, just like that, they're all underneath the bed hiding it. How did they know that today was the day that you're going to take them to the vet?
Right.
I mean, you said the same words, let's hop in the car. But how did they know that today was vet day? You said, hop in the car, have a fun ride, just like every day, but they knew. Well, it wasn't vibes and it wasn't aura. It wasn't the vibration of the universe. What they did, they looked at their face, and they say a dog can remember every move the owner has ever made. I don't know how they prove that, but they do have some our memory. And so they say, wait a minute, the last time my owner said, let's go to the car, have a fun time, and they moved their elbow just like this, we ended up at the vet's office with needles in our butt. And they remember that. And they say, uh-oh, we're under the bed. Now, it's the same with people. When they look at our face and they see expressions on our face, they make a judgment based upon this huge database in the back of their brain. So their facial recognition software goes through them all and say, all right, it's more like this person, this person, this person. And they read our intention. And what humans have is something called microfacial expressions. And we can have up to 25 in a second, which means 25 miniature expressions in our face. People see these all the time. We recognize them, and that's how we make these judgments. We don't have conscious control. It's all happened by their subconscious mind. And they read our microfacial expressions. Some people are so good, they don't even need to know a foreign language, and they can understand what people are saying just by their microfacial expression. So ask ourselves, if all I have to do is control my microfacial expressions, so people make a decision to like me, to listen to me, to trust me, to say I'll be a good consultant, I give good advice, and I'm there to help them, all I need to do is control these microfacial expressions. And I said, well, that's the key. You figured it out. And of course, the question comes up, 25 a second. How in the world can I control it? Easy. Our microfacial expressions are only a reflection of our intention. So what we intend in our mind magically shows up in these microfacial expressions. So if I'm intending to come to you with a hockey mask and an axe, you might say, oh, I remember that from a couple of horror movies, and I have this thought, you're going to pick that up in my face. So if we wanted to control our microfacial expressions, here's two options. Before we meet somebody, we can think in our mind, I'm going to crush you like a grape. I'm going to make this sale. You're going to buy from me. I'm going to sign you up. Chances are they're going to read that in our face. Because we know when somebody just has to collect 3 more phone numbers before they go home. We just pick up this intention.
Right.
But the intention I think we should have in our mind is, all I want to do is give you one more option for your life. You can use this option today, tomorrow, sometime in the future, or never. And people love having extra options. And that thought will control our microfacial expression. So if we said that right before we talk to somebody, instead of crush them like a grape, guess what? They're going to read that, and in about 1 second's time, we are pretty far down the road. It doesn't take long to get down the road in network marketing to have them on our side with total rapport. So here's a little statement, and I'll say it again. All we do is offer people one more option in their lives. They can take that option today, tomorrow, sometime in the future, or never. But people love having extra options. And you say, wait a minute, what if I taught that to my new distributor? So a new distributor joins, and the new distributor says, oh, I don't want to be a salesman. You say, relax, don't be a salesman. All we do is offer people one more option in our lives. They can take that option today, tomorrow, sometime in the future, or never. And people love having extra options. And now the new distributor says, wow, that's great. People love having extra options. I give it to them. They have the option to stay where they are. Of course they do. And they have an option taking what I have. We don't know if the timing's right. I just offer options. And now our new distributor feels better about talking to people. It shows up in their microfacial expressions. People react better. And in the first 1 second time, we are pretty far down the road in our business. And I don't know what most people do during their first 1 second, but it's probably not that. And we're probably sabotaging ourselves and don't even know why. So those things are easy to control. Barney?
Yeah, that's great. I'm going to come back in here. Yeah. That was good because I think it was Lisa. Well, I was getting some feedback there. I think it was Lisa was asking. Let me just pull it back up here again for a second. just saying that, so what can we do in those first 10 to 15 seconds? And you just, in my opinion, answered it pretty clearly, is it's just getting clear on the intention. Where, I've had that experience before where, I was working towards a goal, and, the intention is still to serve and to help people and give them one more option, or the next best option with getting a kit of oils. And then there's times I've had really great success where just like 15 people in the workshop and 13 people went home, signed up, and the other 2 didn't. And other times you do a workshop with 15 people and 2 people go home, with a kit. And I, if I'm honest, really, it was the intention was different in those scenarios. But there's a part of me that wouldn't want to admit that. Like, oh no, I was still wanting to help, which I did. It's not like I was only focused on the sale. I was part of it, but the times when maybe the results weren't as favorable, that was the case. So I think that what you just really answered it, which is really just saying that it's the intention which controls the micro, what did you say? The micro
facial expressions.
Facial expressions, which I think is really interesting. And and then Lisa said, I like that one, just one more option. Because it's just kind of, it's a little bit more freeing, I think. If people are watching this, to me, I feel like that it's more freeing, even though I consider myself at a certain level of success. I have a lot of room to grow still, to keep growing in my business and reaching more people. But I'm always looking for a more efficient way to help more people, and this is a way where we can actually get more done in less time. But it also, I think, poses the challenge of being more aware, which it's not a bad thing, but the challenge of being really super aware of what our intentions are before we go into a presentation, right?
Yes, people can read it, and if you think about things in our past, we're able to read people's intentions really, really quick. And all we're doing now is learning to control it. Now, the average person as a prospect has no idea any of this is occurring. It's just part of their life. This is how they see things.
Right.
But we, as professionals, we have to communicate the message inside of our brain, inside of their brain. We have some obstacles to overcome. We have their negativity, their skepticism, their too good to be true filter, the what's the catch, you're trying to make money off of me, my survival program, I hate change, bad things happen to me. All these things are in front. So our message comes right up to this huge shield of stuff and bounces off their forehead and tinkles to the floor. Never once enters their brain. And we go home wondering, well, why didn't they do it? It would be really good for them. Well, they never even heard it, never even got into their brain, because we didn't use the proper skills to manipulate our message past all of that garbage. So if we're going to do this seriously and not waste time, well, we better learn how to get past all this negativity, all these dysfunctional programs, deliver our message inside their head, and then they have an option. Will this message serve me or not? But most people don't have an option. We withhold it from them because we don't even have the basic communication skills of getting past this first level of negativity. So we have to be pretty serious if we want to grow fast, and say, I just can't be out there with oral diarrhea and verbal vomit and just saying, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. At some point, we're going to have to suck up and say, I got to get past this stuff and get our message inside their head so they have a choice. If they don't have a choice, well, why are we even there other than to listen to ourselves talk? But it can be done. Even nerdy engineers can learn how to do this. So anybody can learn to do this. Americans do it.
Well, yeah, I love it. I think it's great because it is something that's just really simple. Now you mentioned, so that's really simple and that's really great. You mentioned some of the skills, like to master the skills. So I know that some of what you're talking about in the summit and in your past presentations in the summit go over more of this, and you also have great free training on your website and the audiobooks that you have. But can you give us just a brief summary of what you consider to be the skills, or is there like Big Al's 37.5 skills?
Gee, actually, there's 25 little ones that we should work on.
Okay.
I think if they go or leave me a message, I have a little chart with them all on.
Okay.
I'm not sure the chart would actually help, because if I saw that chart earlier in my career, I'd say, well, I don't know how to do any of it. So there's really 4 that we have to work on now.
Okay.
The 4 core ones, the very first baby step in our business is the 4 core skills. And that kind of correlates to how the human makes up their mind. A good way to describe our business is we are in the decision-making business. We're not in the health and wellness business. The company is. We're not taking herbs and these frogs in China at midnight with leprechauns and stuffing them into bottles and doing the testing and putting up the websites and doing the customer service and shipping. No, that's the company's business. And the company's really good at this. So the company can actually ship directly to the customers. They don't even need us. The only thing the company needs us for is one thing, and that is to get people to make a decision. That's the only thing the company can't do. So our job is this, to get people to make a decision. The company does everything. All we have to do is get people to make a yes decision. That's the partnership. And you say, well, I thought I'm supposed to read slides to people like they're reading impaired. No, the slides are already up online. I thought I should show people how to press play on a video because I've never seen a play button before. No. The company has all the information. Everything's compliant. The only thing we're in charge of is getting people to make a yes decision. So if you want to reframe your career, you might say, you know what? I'm in the decision-making business. That's my part of the deal. I just got to get people to say yes, to try the products and try the opportunity. So it's all about the decision. So the decision happens in the human brain. And most of this brain science changed a lot since 1997. But the shortcut, you don't really have to write this down, but the shortcut of how people make a decision in their brains is out of whack with sales presentations. Really out of whack. Here's how most people have been taught to do a sales presentation and to talk to people. Now, this is going to be ugly, so I'm warning viewers. You might want to turn down the volume or turn it off, but it's pretty ugly. But this is what salesmen are taught to do. They say, first of all, make a list of everybody you know, everybody, every human being, even the clerk that you don't even know their name. Make a list of everybody and call. And call all these people you're afraid to call, and if nobody gives you an appointment, then use the 3-foot rule. Harass everybody within 3 feet of you. And if somebody finally gives you a chance to make a presentation, say, shut up and sit down while I give my presentation. Save your questions toward the end. I might cover it somewhere in my presentation. And we're going to show them audios and videos and presentations. And at the end, we're going to take all their objections and twist them against them and humiliate them, make them feel bad. Then we're going to close as hard as we possibly can. And if they don't close right away and say, I need to think it over, we're going to harass them until they buy or die. And that's the model we're taught.
I just
now that model, yes.
I had myself muted and off screen because I couldn't stop laughing, because as funny as you're making it sound, it's true. And I think I'm going to have to go back and listen to this, but you're on a roll, so I want you to keep going. I just add some humor here because it's good.
The way it is. And when we see this, we feel embarrassed, but we've all been taught this.
Yeah.
And even though we know better today about that's not how people make decisions, we still do it. It's from the 1960s. And I tell people the 1960s was black and white. It didn't have color. It's not coming back. Stop operating in the 1960s. Today, people are a bit more sophisticated. They have choices. They have Netflix. Stop that. There's no need to do that. And people go, well, but what do I do? How do I get a decision? Well, around late 90s, brain science did a lot of research. And people say, well, why don't salespeople read the brain science on how people make decisions? Well, first of all, we forget that we're in the decision-making business. Number two, brain science is boring. Nobody needs to read it. So here's the bottom line. There's 5 little trigger points in the human decision. And you don't have to write these down. They just make common sense. Here's how humans make decisions, and it happens in a heartbeat. The first trigger point that I don't know if it's genetic or what, but we're trained to do is, who are you? This is where we judge people and judge them harshly. So like I said, if you're the person who just ran over my cat, or if you're Brad Pitt, it's going to make a big difference on that presentation. Now, for everyone listening here, who are we is something we can't change right away. This is what's changed over time in personal development, where we have more value to people. But for now, you don't have to worry about it because you can't change who you are. You are who you are. It's not going to change in the first 3 seconds when you talk to a prospect. So relax. Step number 2 is the big one. If you get this one right, you can mess up the rest. If you don't get it right, you can go home. And it's the first one we can really control. And step number 2 in their decision-making process, or trigger point number 2, is, can I trust you and believe you? Now, if they can't trust us, they're never going to buy. If they don't believe us, they're never going to join. So I could say, I have Mercedes-Benz out in the parking lot, half price. Who wants to give me cash? And everybody's going to look around. You ain't from around here. I'm not sure, something dodgy with those. Well, because there's no trust and belief, we've turned down one of the greatest deals of our century. Half-price Mercedes, awesome. But because there's no trust, it doesn't happen, which means you can offer the oil for a penny. If they don't trust you and believe you, it's over. So unless we get trust and belief, there's no reason to go on. Now, early in my career, I didn't know this step existed in the mind, so I went right into the presentation. Of course, you can already predict how that ended. It was awful. I'm giving presentations that people don't believe me, that are skeptical. I mean, just dumb. So we got to get this decision in their mind. I can trust you and I can believe you. Step 3 in the human mind is, are you interesting? I have 6 million bits of data right now fighting for my attention in this last second. And the next second is going to bring me 6 million bits of new data. Unless you're number 1 on top of that 6 million bits of data, you're not being noticed by the conscious mind. So we got to be pretty interesting to grab their attention. Step 4 is, do I want to do it or not? This is the actual decision. This is where they make a yes or no decision. And if the answer is yes on step 4, then step 5 is, give me the details. Tell me what it is. Tell me what's going on. So if you notice, step 5, the details, the presentation, the name of the company, all that comes after the decision. And this is hard for people to swallow, to get their heads around, that they should never even tell them the name of the company or the product until they've already made a final yes decision that they want it. And it seems like a weird thing, but it's how the human mind works. And you hear this a lot. There's proof around us everywhere. You hear this a lot. People say, well, I joined the business before I went to my first meeting. Or when I met my sponsor, I already made up my mind that I wanted to do this before I even knew what it all was. And this is just normal how the human brain works. So when you and I talk to people, the 4 core skills would start with the rapport, to get them to trust us, to be interesting, kind of like an icebreaker, to get the yes or no decision to close, and then finally, the presentation. So those 4 things are the 4 core skills that we really want to concentrate our time on, because that's what's going to pay off. That's what we do every time we talk to a live human being. And here's a demonstration. People have already made up their minds on just about every situation. They don't need any information. So we're at the local grocery store, aisle 4, with our cart. We take a step with our left foot, look to the left, and we say in our minds, a box of cornflakes. And then we think, oh, I wonder if they have a company video. Who's the company founder? I don't know, any testimonials around here? Let's see some research reports. Are there natural, supernatural, international, organic, natural? Is that how we choose cornflakes? No, we just go blah, and we go down the aisle. And we go down the aisle saying blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, box of donuts, 2. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Bottle of wine, yeah, maybe one of those 2. We have already made up our minds about everything up and down that aisle. Everything. So this is how people make decisions. We do it all the time. Decisions first, information later. It's a big leap, but once you go on the other side and leave the dark side of the sales presentation and go to the other side, realizing that people make instant decisions based upon pre-existing programs, a whole new world opens up. It's like the land of Oz. Everything's like bright and sunny. But it's pretty hard for new people to believe this because all their life they were taught this lie that people make decisions after getting lots of information for 45 minutes, and then they sit down with their mind and calmly judge the facts pro and con and make an informed decision based upon the data presented. That's never happened in the history of mankind. It's never going to happen, so just get over it. So that's the short story about decisions, Barney.
That's good. I had to mute myself again because I was having a good old chuckle of just knowing that it's true. And I can, so a question that I have, but also I can imagine some of you or some of the listeners and just everybody listening is thinking like, okay, so if it's decision first, information second, and you said that the decision is made due to a lot of preconceived notions. Is there a chance, there is a chance, I should ask it to you this way, that when you go and do a presentation that they might have already had their mind made up, that it might not be anything that we do when we go to do a presentation that they have their mind made up, but they're just not interested? Or can we can we still do things to positively influence them to to buy the products and get started in their business?
Yeah, some people, life's been pretty cruel to them. Their dreams have been sucked out by their dream-sucking vampire employer. They've been crushed by society. All their dreams in high school are not even a memory anymore. For some people, there's probably nothing you can do. I guess you could lay them on a sofa for 5 years and psychoanalyze them, but you're going to miss a lot of prospects doing that. So if you were to take 100 prospects, I would assume maybe there's 5 of them that no matter what you did, nothing's going to happen. No matter how hard you dance, they're not going to clap. It's over. Right. And there's five people out of that 100 that are going to join just because you showed up. Just because you showed up there. But it's the 90 people in between that we learn the skills on, right, so we can communicate the message with them. So right, if you're like perfect on the skills, you'd get 95 out of 100 people. And if you're like 0 on the skills, you get 5 out of 100 just because you were there. I tell people, instead of just running out and finding new people to ruin, well, why not learn the skills so the people you talk to, you don't talk them out of it? Because here's the reality. I talked earlier about people being pre-sold. Yeah. So let's just talk about health. I'm going to talk to 100 people. I'm going to ask them this. Do you want to live longer or die quickly? Live longer. You want more money in your life or less money? More money, yeah. They're pre-sold. So if you look at that and say, wait a minute, I don't have to sell anybody. They're pre-sold. They already want to live longer. They want more money in their life. They're totally pre-sold. So here is, this is ugly, so I'll just warn you ahead of time. All right. We have people that are pre-sold. We talk to them, and they say no. I'll do this again slower just in case we missed it. But people are 100% pre-sold. We talk to them, and they say no. Anybody pick up the flaw where things are going wrong? I'll do it slower again. See if we can figure out where it all went wrong. They're 100% pre-sold. Hint, we talk to them, and they say no. Because we use random oral diarrhea, verbal vomit, read flip charts and, lip sync testimonials, we're literally talking pre-sold people out of it. And we talk them out of it so bad that they almost say, I'd rather die quickly and be broke rather than do business with you. That is probably a bit offensive. But the point is, we're taking pre-sold people and literally talking them out of it because we haven't learned how to manage our first 10 seconds of everything from our microfacial expressions to our icebreakers to how to get rapport and stuff like that. And that was the story of my career. So try it for yourself. Go out and ask people, do you want to live longer or die quickly? Do you want more money in your life or less money? And just see how many people are pre-sold. And you're going to be amazed that they don't need a sales presentation. They've already made a decision. This is what they want. You don't have to do hardly anything except stop talking them out of it with stupid sales presentations. So we don't put two and two together. We just go through life because there's so much stuff going on. We just don't pay attention. But here's the good news. All you have to do is give people one more option in their life, and they can take that option today, tomorrow, sometime in the future, or never. And if your option is pretty good, they're going to take it as long as you can get it inside of their brain.
Yeah, that's great. So it simplifies it, and I think, yeah, like you said, I think it. Well, you said earlier about the new people. Oh, we're getting that feedback again. The new people having a challenge and have a hard time really understanding that it is actually this easy. But I almost kind of think that it would be harder for somebody, let's say like myself, that's been doing this, for 5 years, and that if they're facing that reality of being like, oh crap, I've been doing this for 5-10 years, not much. Maybe it is what I'm doing, but I don't really know exactly how to identify it. It's a good approach by the sounds of what you're saying to do the less is more.
Let me give an example, because people are saying, yeah, that all sounds good, but how does it work in real life when you talk to people? Let's do a practical example.
Yeah.
So we'll pick an imaginary product like toothpaste.
Yeah.
And I said, this toothpaste is great. It has some essential oils in it. Our frankincense oil can beat up other people's frankincense oil. Our scientists can beat up your scientists. Here's the data on this. This has been specially formulated, filtered. Our quality control is second none. We've taken this from the original seed all the way to the actual product here before we put this in. And here's some testimonials on it. We had this tested, blah, 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 blah. And what's the general thinking of our prospect? Thinking, somebody's trying to sell me something. Salesmen are evil. They take your money. If you don't buy, they harass you for years. How do I get out of this? And they're going to say, I need to get back to you. I need to think it over. I can't be rude because you live next door. But they just come up with stuff. So what if you had this conversation instead to the mom next door? You say, your children brush their teeth every day? Yeah. Would it be okay if they had a natural toothpaste so you didn't have to stuff chemicals inside their mouth twice a day? Yeah. Well, let's sort that out now. Let's get you some.
That's simple and easy.
So that's, I don't know, how long did that take? 6 seconds? 7 seconds? So the question is, what do ordinary distributors do during their first 6 or 7 seconds or 8 seconds or 10 seconds talking to people? Just random made up stuff. And you say, that's terrible. So let's just see how long this lasts. I have, and this is an amazing invention. It's called a stopwatch that they put on the phone, an app. Let's just see how long those 2 questions take. So I'm going to give it a try. Do your children brush their teeth? Would it be okay if they had a natural toothpaste so you didn't have to stuff chemicals inside their mouth? 6.76 seconds. So,
yeah,
there's 2 ways of doing the business. Just random yak, 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 or 6.76 seconds. And what happened in those 6.76 seconds? We created rapport. We broke the ice. We introduced our business into the conversation, and we closed 6.76 seconds. And how much presentation do you need? I don't know. Let's squeeze them out. Do you see any chemicals? No. Okay. What is the other person going to say? No. I want to stick chemicals inside my children's mouth instead. Oh, turn them into child services. All right. But this is not rocket surgery.
Yeah, no, I know.
Hard.
I know. I'm just laughing because I'm just laughing because I know that not just me watching this, those of you who are watching are probably shaking your head, being like, "Yep, I'm guilty." You know, I've done it where you can give a 50-minute presentation, you could do a 15 to 20-minute presentation, and you could have the same results. Now, I know with your 6.7s, it's going to look 6.7 seconds is going to look totally, way too long in and of itself right there. But having that, being able to share some of the story and some of the other components, one of the things that I think that a common approach is that the facts tell, but the stories sell. So I think what I have noticed is that there's a lot of storytelling, which it's great. And sometimes even when I've been in a presentation before, I'm kind of like thinking, okay, if I was the new person, I'd just be like, kind of get on with it, like just get straight. But that's also, now there's different personalities. And your personality CD, I listened to for the first time like 4 or 5 years ago, the red, blue, yellow, and green, and I thought it was hilarious. So there's that factor too, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. You're sitting there thinking, just get on with it.
Yeah.
Everybody's thinking that. We have, like I said, 6 million bits of data hitting our head every second. Most of it we can ignore. Our subconscious mind takes care of. Well, weather's okay, no pain in your foot, no reason. So we are overloaded. We have this giant tsunami of decisions waiting for us to make. Did we think about what to make for the children's lunch tomorrow? Did we take the car in for service? What about my job here? Did the children feed the dog? What's on Netflix tonight? We have this giant tsunami of decisions to make that we are always rushed. So when people see us, they want to sort us out like that. Yes or no? Because every second they wait, more and more decisions are piling up. So let's look at it from our prospects' point of view. They say, just get to the point so I can do a yes or no, so I get my mind back to taking care of all these hundreds of other decisions that are piling up that I got to really think about and do something about. They want to sort us out immediately. They want the bottom line immediately. So feel the back of your brain when I call up and I say this. And I get these all the time. Hi. I just wanted to call and find out when's a good time to chat for 15 or 20 minutes. Come on, Barney, you're a busy person. What do you think when somebody says, hey, let's, I'm emailing you now. When can we just chat for 15, 20 minutes? What are you thinking?
I'm saying I'm probably going to be busy.
There's so many more things I can do than an uninformed, useless chat was probably going to end up being a sales pitch from you. And I'm so far behind in all my projects. I just don't have enough energy. And listen to you will just depress me. And so when we call our prospects, I'd like to pop over for a half hour. Half hour? Are you kidding me? All the stuff I got to do. I just came home from work. I have children. People want it straight out right away. We don't want to hear this long blah, blah, blah warm up. We just got to talk to people directly and talk to them using the words and phrases that will get our message past all that negativity, the too good to be true filter, the what's the catch, are you a salesman? Do I need to be careful? All that stuff. So we've got to be pretty pro, or we're going to be limiting ourselves to 5 out of 100 people. And that's just brutal, because that means 95 people are giving us rejection. And who wants that in their life?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're basically in being short and succinct and to the point, but also paying attention to how they're responding to what it is that you're saying, obviously. So that goes back to your point, where is it here? The four, these ones here, let me see if I can pull them up, the 4 points.
The 4 points are, first of all, we got to get rapport, get them to believe us before we do any more talking. And then an icebreaker, be interesting, so they want to know more, and then they're going to make a decision on that. And if the decision is yes, then we'll talk further. If not, we'll just change the subject. Just like normal conversation, when they're not interested, you just change the subject. Not hard at all.
Yeah, I think that's good. I maybe I missed that, and I just want to. Whoops. I think that was getting some feedback coming from your. I don't know if it's from your headset there, but it's good. It's good now. But I think that is an important distinction where when you go through this, okay, building rapport, I had put in my comment there, get them to trust us, but getting them to believe us, which I guess they can kind of go hand in hand, get them to trust and believe us. Be interesting, and then get a yes or no. And if they're like closed off or they're not interested, just be done and don't waste your time. But on the other hand, if you get a yes, then go straight into giving the options. Did I hear you correctly on that?
Yeah, let me do an example of a no. I'm talking to my disgusting used car salesman, cigar smoking uncle, and I call him up, "Hey, uncle," and he goes, "It's you, Pyramid Boy. What's up?" I said, "So, uncle, I know your retirement's coming up." "Well, who told you that?" I said, "So, would it be okay if you could double your pension in just 9 months?" "Well, I don't know. That's not for me. I don't believe anything you do, and you ran over my cat." And so, uncle, how's the weather where you live? Right. "Well, it's the same as yours. I live next door." "Yeah, but we changed the subject. That's how people talk. When it's done, it's done. When they're no longer interested, you just change the subject. But most people are pre-sold, so you hardly ever have to do it. They desperately want what you have to offer. So I'll give another example of a more positive thing. You say, have a lot of stress in your life? "Oh, yeah, I have terrible stress in my life." "Well, would it be okay if you could do something for it naturally so you wouldn't have homicide charges on your husband?" "Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I didn't time that. But that's probably about 4 seconds."
Right.
But in 4 seconds' time, it's already over. If somebody wants to do something naturally for their stress or to continue worried about homicide charges. Or maybe I could say this. "Do you hate wrinkling at night?" "Yeah, it keeps me up in bed listening to my skin wrinkle when I go to bed." "Oh, would it be okay if you had a special cream to stop it?" "Yeah. Ka-ching. It's not that hard." So all we're doing is talking in the sequence the human mind makes a decision. And I should mention there is a sequence, which is why I mentioned those 5 little steps. When you get things out of order, like the presentation before the decision, ugly. Things have an order in life, like skydiving. Put on parachute, get an airplane, jump out of airplane, pull ripcord. There's a certain sequence. If you get that sequence out of order, we die.
Right.
And it's the same thing here. If we start doing the presentation first, we die. It's just out of order. It's just roots, not how our prospect's human brain wants to make a positive yes decision. So yeah, we kill ourselves, but we can change better skills on how it's all done.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Are you hearing that? You got a little bit of...
Yeah, there's probably some insects crawling through the line somewhere on the internet, but every so often you hear it.
That does tend to happen. It literally sounded like an electronic banjo or something. It was kind of weird. But yeah, no, this has been really good. I think that we could obviously keep talking for a long time, but I know you've got to get started with your day there. If I remember correctly, that you're just starting your day.
Yes, just starting. Woke up for this.
Yeah, awesome. Well, we really appreciate it, and I was just going to say, I think it's been great. I think really, and I'm going to pull this up one more time. So this is the closing part here, where
it's 22 hours.
My computer just told us what time it was. 22 hours here in Eastern time. So build rapport, get them to trust and believe us, be interesting, and then get a yes or a no. And when there's a no, move on and switch. And when there's a yes, just say, okay, great. Would it be okay if I help you get started today? Or would it be okay if I put these oils in your hands to change your life?
Yeah, let's sort it out. Yeah. Oh, what do you mean, let's sort it out? Well, let's go online now and order you some.
Yeah.
Oh, and since we typed all this stuff in, you look like a busy person. You probably don't want to type it all in or give people your credit card number every month. Let's just get this on the auto ship thing here so you don't have to hassle with that every month. Yeah, that's not hard. Just talk to people the way they like to be talked to.
Right. So that's great. Awesome. Well, I was gonna pull up this comment again, guys. If you put your comments, I couldn't see all of them, but I was gonna put. Nicole just said, "I'm just curious about Big Al's back wall design. Is it diamond wallpaper or is he a padded room?"
Well, actually, it's a ceramic tile. So.
Is it really?
Yeah. So it probably looks like a Las Vegas bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it looks kind of cool. Yeah, no, that's great, Nicole. Thanks for the funny comment there. And yeah, Lisa just said the sound is the remnants of Hurricane Florence. Now that it's gone, we can get business back to rocking. So, yeah, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to get on here and share and do some good old school teaching. I know that you were so excited about being on camera and on Facebook Live that you just couldn't wait to get up and get dressed and get started this morning, right?
Right.
That was my version of some mild Canadian sarcasm. Well, again, thanks a lot. And just to, Big Al, really do appreciate it. And I cannot find your, oh, here it is. So I'll put this up here so you can go to Big Al's website or Tom's website, just bigalbooks.com/free. And if you just go to bigalbooks.com, you can go and check out the other books that he has there. I like listening to your material, and I am as the organizer and the creator and founder of the summit. Just I'm in support and in the mission of helping all of our distributors in our company. Those who want to take part in the summit, we're grateful for having you be a part of it every year. We appreciate it, especially in your small little 47-year history in being in the industry.
Hey, thanks for inviting me, and good luck to everybody. And remember, it all happens in the first 5 or 10 seconds. We just need to manage that time. The good news is we only have to be good for the first 5 or 10 seconds that we're in.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome. We'll close out on a good note there. Thanks, Big Al. I appreciate it. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.